Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever. This is Jose. This is my solo podcast, you guys. If you're watching me on YouTube, it is 7 a.m. And I'm trying to get these solo podcasts ready before I head on vacation. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for being here. We absolutely love it. I cannot believe that we are over 600,000 downloads of our podcast. Like what is happening? Why are you listening? Alicia and I absolutely love showing up for you. We love talking. So this is an easy way for us to just like create content for you, and to show up together. And it inspires you to hopefully, I don't know, live your best life. I know that some people do listen to our podcast and you guys actually implement. You don't just listen for fun, you actually implement some of our words. And I do the same when I listen to podcasts. Anyways, to think that we do that for someone else is just so cool. Hi. All right. I think today is one of those podcasts where you'll be left feeling like, okay, like if I want to do the same as Jose, this shit is not just going to happen. I'm going to have to do the work for it. So I want to talk about this new sentence, or this new, what's a quote that I use. I didn't steal it from anyone. It is my own quote, but basically in my head, whenever a negative thought about my life, about my body, about my weight, about anything really, I just say, you know what, we don't do that anymore here. So I want you to know that, I was not always this person where I, shifted my mind to positive thoughts instead of just keeping the negative thoughts. I definitely was more negative before. I was definitely more into drama. And I don't mean like drama, girly drama. I mean, drama in my head. Because I think that noise, when you have noise and anxiety, I think that the noise that we have in our head about our bodies is often anxiety, and we don't label it that, but like, I don't know, think about it. Like if you're like all up in your head about wearing shorts, you're kind of feeling anxiety around being in public in shorts. And that's noise. I call that noise because it's like you're making shit up, you're being dramatic. So that's what I mean when I say I used to like drama. My head was definitely more filled with drama than it is right now. So right now I don't allow drama to come into my head about my life, about my body, about my weight. And here's how I do it, you guys. So basically, people want to know, like, how did it start? When did it start? How did you know? And at the end of the day, you have to create awareness around your life today. So you have to be like, I'm this person that is not always positive. I'm this person that talks a lot of shit about her body, and I don't want to be that person anymore. So it's not just like, basically it came down to like, Jose, did you want to do some work to change how you look, or do we feel like this is good enough? And you would have asked me, I would have been like, this is good enough. Like, this is ridiculous that, that I'm not allowing myself to live life, fully, because apparently my legs aren't good enough. Like what the, okay. So I like caught myself multiple times before I even like started anything, any changes. It's just, you have to create awareness first, and you have to like be ready for the changes when you're ready for the changes. You can't just be like, oh, I should start changing the way I behave and think that that's just going to happen. Like you have to be ready for it. So I was ready for it. I was like, I don't want to think this way. I really want to change my mindset. And you guys know that I'm a like firm believer in mindset change. Like I truly believe that there is not one action, one magical thing that's going to change your life. I think the only way you can change the way you see your life is through mindset, is through your thoughts and your beliefs. So I highly, highly believe in that. So that's what I do at Your Weight Loss, is I change people's beliefs and thoughts around their bodies, and also around weight loss, and around what that needs to look like. So I knew that mindset needed to be a part of it. And I knew that it was probably going to be all of it, So here's what I started to do. Literally 2 months before I went on this journey to embracing my body, I was literally videotaping myself grabbing my loose skin on my thighs and sending it to Alicia and saying things like, if I didn't have this, like, imagine how amazing my body would be. I wonder if I can get lipo. I wonder if I can get skin removal, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, it went from I really went 180 because I went to the surgeon's office. We talked about my legs. And honestly, it was really a good experience because I was standing there naked and he was like, you know what? Your legs are fine. He was like, the scar that I'm going to have to do to get rid of that skin is going to probably bother you more than this loose skin that you have. He said, maybe as you get older, the loose skin is going to go over my knees and then that might bother me. But he's like, right now, you're clearly fit. You clearly, do all the things that even more than what people do. And he's like, you're fine. I wouldn't touch your legs. And I was like, oh, wow. He did not say the same about my butt. I have a very flat butt, everyone. It is wide, but it is not nice. Anyways, moving on. I don't care. So I turn around and he's like, ooh, we could do lipo here. I do have fat pockets on the side that he's like, no matter how much you're going to lose, you're always going to have that shape. And I was like, oh, I know. And then whatever. So he's like, I can take away the fat, but if I take away, I could create a hole instead of anyways, it was very interesting. So I get out of there. And of course, he's like, I showed him my breast and he's like, oh, your breasts have a lot of work to be done. And I was like, I know, but I don't care about my breasts. So it's kind of interesting, right? Because someone else could have my breast and be like, oh my God, this is the worst. I need, something else. And I'm just like, I don't care. But my legs is a big deal for me. Anyways. So this was in 2020, February 2020. What happened in March 2020? Oh, you know what happened. And for me, you know how some people something traumatic happens in their life, whether they lose someone really close to them, and then that gives them a different perspective of life. They're in an accident, and then that gives them a different path. For me, it was the pandemic. I know it didn't do the same for everyone. And I know I wasn't the only one in this pandemic, but for me, it really it shifted things in my mind, 180. I am not the same person as before the pandemic. And I didn't even go through anything traumatic in the pandemic. The pandemic was I'm young. I did not lose anyone close. There's nothing traumatic that happened. But for me, just the fact that it happened and that it's a thing that they can just close everything down and cancel your trips and take away your daycare, just everything. It was that was traumatic for me. And I hope I'm not being disrespectful here to anyone that went through way bigger trauma, but that was my trauma. And the shift in my mind and the shift in my purpose was just, it's insane to me. I can't explain it. That for me was almost a moment. But I could have not grabbed it. I could have just kind of dwelled on it and not change anything in my life. But I definitely was so aware of how I felt and the changes I wanted to make at that time. So for me, that was a moment for me. Anyways, so that summer 2020 was the first time I ever put my lower body in a non-sexy way on the internet. So it started 2 years ago. This whole let's put my lower body on the internet. For me, it was never to make other people feel better about their lower body, although I'm getting tons of messages these days about my content and how I'm helping people heal their relationship with their lower body. And I didn't know that was going to thing. I literally did it for me. I'm going to do this because I need to create a better relationship with my lower body. I can't keep hiding it. I can't keep grabbing it. This is it. I can't keep grabbing it in a disgusting way. I grabbed it and I was like, oh, this is gross. That's what I was doing with my legs. And I was hiding it for sure. And I was like, I need to stop hiding it because it's a part of my body. And I hated that I was showing on the internet only the only my upper body that is very socially accepted, not just socially accepted, but like actually praised. Like, wow, look at her upper body. Like she is fit. She is, toned. She works out, and I was like, well, my lower body is also a part of my body and you're not seeing it, but that part of my body you would have a different opinion on. So anyway, so I started putting my lower body on the internet, but just putting your lower body on the internet doesn't mean that you're like solving everything. Like you have to create a better relationship with that part of your life. And that starts in the brain. So I started like, whenever I would catch myself wanting to talk shit about my lower body, like that's not just a switch, right? So I would like stop right away. I would stop in the middle of grabbing my inner thigh fat, loose skin. And I'd be like, oh, we don't do that anymore. We don't talk about that. We don't like grab our skin anymore. We don't look at our body in any negativity anymore. So I had to like catch myself multiple times before it was like more natural. Now, like very rarely do I talk shit about my body. Just FYI, like, so we're 2 years in. Very rarely do I take the time to look at myself in the mirror and talk shit about myself. Like that's very rare. So how that happens is that it needs to become natural to you to not talk shit. And so you need to start by catching the shit and turning things around and saying, we don't do that anymore. So that for me was my sentence or my quote that really helped me to stop doing that. So maybe that's like something else, like you can relate to this with something else in your life that you want to stop doing that anymore, say, we don't do that anymore. Any changes you want to make in your life where you're like, oh, I could really use that sentence. But for me, that was a big change. And now we're 2 years in and I'm like very into showing my lower body. It's almost like all I do. I like rarely take pictures of like my upper body and I guess how perfect it is, because like in my mind, I'm like, I know that my upper body, I don't need to praise it anymore. It's like, I accept it. It's done. That relationship is good. I just need to keep working on my lower body. And it's hard because I just started really putting that piece of my body even more on the internet lately. Cause I did that like once in 2020 and it like got a lot of attention and I didn't keep going because I like wasn't ready. I kept going to like very slow pace, but now I'm like full blown, like shaking my ass. Like this is loose skin. This is fat. This is what I am. And I am getting comments of like, that's disgusting, blah, blah, blah. But I am also getting a lot of DMs of people that think my body's perfect. I have never been in that space on the Instagram of people sending me DMs. So that's been very interesting, but obviously I don't answer you guys, but you know what I mean? And so it's just people sending you their opinion is very interesting to me. So I'm going to finish there. I don't even know how long I've been talking, but I just wanted to share a little bit of my story and how I got to where I am today with accepting my lower body and kind of like, I guess, the mindset shift that needed to happen. But I think that in order for you to make that shift, it needs to be like a priority in your life and like something you value. So for me, when the pandemic hit and I had an appointment for lipo and all of that stuff that I had like thought about, and that it was all canceled, right? Because of the pandemic. And it was like, when I realized like, who the F, like, what does it matter that my legs, like, what is happening? I just want to say this, basically my life before the pandemic was very disciplined and very much about how I look. I'm just going to say it. How I looked was very high on the priority list and it still is. Like, it doesn't take that away. It's just like, it was like a very, very, it's what I focused on. And now I'm really focusing on who I am. So I'm putting a lot of energy and I'm investing a lot of time in developing who I am as a person, how I can, I guess, have more purpose on this planet than just how I look. I thought how I looked had a purpose before, and it still does. It has a purpose for me to be comfortable in my skin. But I realized that there's that balance that you need to find. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm not investing much more in how I look. I'm really investing in who I am. And if I'm investing in who I am, I think that's the best look possible. All right, I'm going to finish with that. Follow me everywhere, you guys. If you have not seen my ass on the internet, well, I mean, you're not following me on Instagram close enough. I love you. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening. And you know where to find us. You should be joining us. You should be a part of our of our program because we are amazing and we offer so, so much. Hi, Noah. Qu'est-ce qui est trop fort? Oh, je parle. All right, everyone. I guess I got to go. Bye.